What's up, everybody? My name is Kevin Wilson. Thank you very, very much for stopping by the BMXPERTS Podcast tonight. And tonight, I have a special guest that I've been trying to get on for a while. I finally nailed him down. Joe Tippit from RIP BMX Apparel. He has so many sponsors that I really don't know. Cook Brothers, Ralph's, MRC. What else you got? What else you ride for, dude?
Okay, we'll start at the top. I made a list for this. Competition Plus, Wizard, Cook Brothers, S&K, Boss, Pedal Power, MRC, System 1, Ralph's, Vans, The Bike Doctor, SE, Western States, Hawk, and Odyssey.
Nice, dude. Oh my gosh, that's so bitchin'. And we're for those of you that don't know that aren't familiar with Joe, Joe's the Wizard of Whittier. He's a kick-ass. And what was your local track? La Mirada?
La Mirada Regional Park.
La Mirada Regional Park was the local track. Joe, thank you very much for coming on, bro. Let's start at the beginning real quick here. How are you? You're a little younger than me, right? I'm 50.
Yeah, I'm 52.
Okay, all right. So you were a little kid running around the track when I was racing.
I started in '77 out at La Mirada. Used to always see the kids going up there. My dad took me over there right after my 5th birthday, and I was off and running. And I raced straight through to '98. Nice,
dude. So I'm gonna turn you loose a little bit. I'm just gonna interject a little bit if you don't mind. What got you into BMX? I know that last time you were on for our first ever trivia contest. I know that you talked a little bit about it back then, but you lived across the street from the track, and just one day you said, "Hey, I want to go race." Expand upon that a little bit if you don't mind.
Yeah, and then it just snowballed from there. And I mean, every day I would get out of school, my dad would take me straight over there. And the cool thing about that track is that was the home track for a lot of legends like Steve Bemke, Jeff Botima, Tinker Juarez, Stu Thompson, Eddie Fiola, Martin Appareo, Rich Segur. God, I know I'm missing a lot, but Kelly McDougal, his little brother, Brian. There's a lot of people that started at La Mirada and just went from there. And then would find out about tracks and go there, Fountain Valley, Orange, Azusa, Monrovia, Westminster, Irvine, Corona. The one track my dad always thought I was too little to ride was Saddleback with the big drop. So never got to ride Saddleback.
Okay. I'm not familiar with it. It was a sketchy track. Did you agree? Were you scared of it, or you wanted to ride it and your dad wouldn't let you?
I believe it or not, I snuck down it once when my brother was there racing motocross after they shut it down. And yeah, it was scary.
Pretty scary. Nice, dude. Nice. Out of all those tracks, besides La Mirada, did you have a favorite? Was there one place you won more than others? Just kind of curiosity.
Probably, I don't know. I mean, I went to all tracks, so the one I was at most frequently was Orange Y, hands down.
Yeah.
But my dad, he always took me to wherever the competition was. So one night we would go to Ascot or Harbor so I could race against Sam Arellano and those guys. Then I would go out to Azusa, Monrovia, race against Kevin Keller and Derek Garcia. Then I would go to Orange, race against Robert Swick and Aaron Salee. And,
Yeah.
It was a whole different world back then. Like, there was so many tracks. Spin around in a direction, point, and just start driving, and you'd hit a track. And 9 times out of 10, it was running that night.
So your dad was down, totally supportive. Let's go racing, balls to the wall. Let's do it.
Yeah. He was so down that in 79 or 80, he partnered up with Kelly McDougall's dad, and they formed Competition Plus. And that's where it started from there. That's how then he became mechanic for other people. He became friends with Jason Jensen's dad. And then I was friends with Jason and those guys that I raced, Jason Wharton. And so I would come home from school and there would be like when Jason got the gold Torker. I got like the first one from Torker. My dad drove down to Fullerton, picked it up. Boom. When Jason went over to Jock's Jag, brand new bike pulled up. What's that? Oh, Lance sent that over to us. Oh, awesome.
Wow. Crazy stuff, dude. See, so it was all a track was a track. You were chasing points, doing your thing. What was your cal number down there in La Mirada?
For years and years, it was 396, like BMXL, the beginning of ABA, and then I just started going lower. And then in the 80s, I got district #1 for 2 or 3 years in a row. Was always a low age group number from when they started that. I started racing cruiser when they did the minute they did the 12 and under cruiser class. My dad, okay, you're going to race cruiser. And the cool thing about that was, and it's a really cool story, on my birthday, my dad, okay, come on, we got to go. Got a birthday present for you. I'm jumping in the van. My dad had an old 69 Dodge van with the engine in the center. We cruise over to Mickey Lundy's house.
Oh, really nice.
They're all standing out in the garage, and Mickey grabs this bike box, slides it over to me. Happy birthday. Bright anodized blue racing cruiser.
Nice, dude.
Now, mind you, back then they had no mini cruisers. So, we modified it best we could, made it work. And that was my first cruiser, 12 and under, racing at Aaron Salee. Oh God, Jason Johnson. There was so many dudes. And, at the beginning, I was just a main maker. It's like, I never considered myself the guy to beat, but like over the past year and stuff, from like some of the stuff people have said, it's like, it got me thinking. And at the Grands, I have a 95% of making my main at the Grands.
Dude, that's good. You can ride.
And at one time, I had the record for the most Grands in a row.
How many was that?
I believe it was like the first 10 or 11, I believe. And then just, financial difficulties went into effect. And
dude, that was my next question. I was going to say, your dad must have been a pretty well-off gentleman with the family to support your racing. No?
My dad gave up everything so I could live my dream.
Yeah, dude.
Everything. We lived in an apartment, and this is where it's going to get emotional because a lot of people don't know this. Few people do. Mike Redmond, he knew. For 3 months, we were living in our van at Mike Redmond's house. We were homeless. Whoa. My dad gave up everything. We would go do jobs just to get me to races.
Dude, what kind of jobs was he like a handyman or something, or what type of stuff?
My dad was originally a general contractor, and then in the 80s, everything went under because of the sewers, so they weren't giving out any more building permits or anything. So all work for my dad stopped.
Wow.
So then he had to go back to doing room additions, and it was far and few in between because pretty much every general contractor was going doing room additions now.
So did you go with them on the jobs and you like carrying his hammer and Joe, give me a nail or give me a Phillips screwdriver? Was that you?
Yeah, but actually, I nailed off my first floor by hand when I was 8 years old, and I nailed off my first roof when I was 10. And this was before nail guns.
Wow, dude, that's that. So, man, I don't know what to say, man. I don't know if that's good or bad, or do you think it made you harder, or do you think
it made me try harder. It made me just want to prove and show him that I was better than what people thought I was.
Yeah,
because like I said, I mean, I never hit it. I'm 50. I mean, I did for most of my riding, but I didn't hide it. I smoked pot my whole racing career. And that's what hindered me from getting sponsorship. I had been told by a couple team managers, you'll never ride for this team because you smoke pot. And I looked them dead in the eye and said, cool. Well, none of your riders will ever beat me.
Yeah, dude. You know, I was when I was younger, I never got into pot. I till this day I can't stand it, but I never really drank that much. Do you think that, you know, and I've wondered this, it's ironic that you bring this up. I've always wondered, do you think it hurts? I mean, I get it that the sponsors don't want, or that it's scheduled for the sponsors, but physically, do you think it hurts, or do you think it's just a wash? It doesn't hurt at all. I don't know.
No.
I never raced when I was high.
No,
it didn't bother you?
I beat the best of the best more stoned than people could even imagine. And I would get on the gate, and 9 times out of 10, that's why I had a crappy gate start. If you watch any video I'm in, I'm almost dead last out of the gate. But if it was a wide open track and I could just go flat out, I would beat you.
You run him. Was that running him down on the first straight, or were you maneuvering in the turns?
Oh, it was just the whole track.
The whole track. Okay.
I could outride. Like, I couldn't do it in the beginning, not on a consistent basis, but sooner or later I would beat you. There was only one person that I ever raced that I never beat, and that was Brian Foster.
Really?
We raced the one time at the ABA Grands in '88. He got out of the gate first and was gone. I got out dead last. I tried my damnedest to catch him, but he still beat me by like 3 feet at the finish line.
Wow, dude. And ironically, he kind of got a little bit of trouble for that too, right?
Yeah, right? Later on down the road.
I think so.
Yeah, later on down the road, he ended up getting suspended from ABA at the time for a dirty test. And, you know, at that time, I wasn't really in it. But, I mean, as far as me, I didn't hide it. I didn't care if I would have. And now looking back, I regret it big time, because if I would have went to the trails to train rather than to hang out with my buddies and smoke pot, who knows what, you know, how good I would have done.
Was there a subculture that I wasn't even aware of at the track? Where was this a common, like, were there guys out in back in the parking lot smoking dope that I never paid attention to, or did that happen, or is it more of a clandestine thing?
No, just rolling through the parking lot. And I mean, if you had a nose for it, you would just, and you know,
wow.
And I mean, you know, a lot of the people that I hung out with, people knew right away that I was smoking pot. I mean, like I said in the last podcast, Dugan Neal was my best friend for 4 or 5 years. You know, and until he ended up ripping me and my dad off. You know, then he turned into a real shady character, and, you know, I have nothing to do with him. That's it.
I'm sorry, I'm not familiar. Duganil was another rider, or was he a manager?
Yeah, he was king of the cruiser class for many, many years, won the Grands. Oh God, can't even imagine. He was on the Vans team that I put together.
Okay.
He rode for Boss for a brief time. He rode for MRC. He was one of the main reasons why Pedal Power was winning titles as much as we were.
Okay. Okay, cool. So when you were, how old are we talking? So what sponsor, who were you riding for when this started to occur, or when you were at your height of your smoking, your party days? Who were you with?
Pretty much everybody, and just depending on who I rode for, depended on who I hid it from. Like when I was on Pedal Power, I didn't need to hide it. Everybody knew. You rolled out to the track, and just look, there's the Pedal Power van with all the smoke coming out of it.
Okay.
It was given. I mean, it's kind of an ongoing joke, But
yeah,
like I said,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I could go back, I wish I could have done things differently, because even it's like, I think, wow, just think if I wasn't as stoned as I was, how I could have, if I would have trained.
Yeah, dude. That leads me to another question, because when I was racing at my peak, 16, 17, dude, I literally ditched like 2 years of high school. I was never at school. I could care less about school. All I wanted to do was stay home, take my bike apart, dial my bike in for that night at the races. I mean, when you're living in a van or you're going through what you're going through, is it affecting your schooling as well, or just your BMX?
And this is where, believe it or not, in 9th grade, I went to school one time. I was riding for Pedal Power, went into school, and me and the teacher got into an argument. Like I said, I was a punk. And I told the teacher, whatever, I make more than you in a freaking weekend. And he got smart with me, and I reached in my pocket and pulled out a wad of cash and kicked me out of his classroom.
Wow.
I went and told my dad. My dad said, okay, you're going to work tomorrow. And I started doing home studies, but then that fell off. I didn't care about nothing. It's like, I'm going to be one of two things when I grow up. I'm either going to be a BMX racer or a carpenter.
Yeah.
And I ended up becoming a carpenter my whole life.
Dude, man, like, yeah, I grew up in a fairly wealthy city, but I wasn't like, we were like the poor people on the block, but still, we were still better off than most. And, dude, we lived across the street from the high school, dude. And I would be at home all day long or at my friend's house. And my dad would say, how come you're not at school today? And I said, oh, it's a parent-teacher conference. He goes, you've had 4 parent-teacher conferences this month. How come I never had a parent-teacher conference? And it was just strange, dude, that I never went to school. And I have the same regret that I never went through and got my diploma. I basically dropped out of 10th grade, really, if you were technically. And it was all BMX, but I wasn't a bad kid. I didn't do drugs. I just wanted to ride my bike, man. But at the same time, I look back at it and think, well, maybe BMX kept me from the drugs. So I don't know if it was BMX saved my life or ruined my life. I still haven't figured it out yet. But yeah, dude, that's
definitely. It saved me from a lot of what could have been worse.
Yeah.
Like
crazy,
up until 98, that's all I was doing. Then I, got in some trouble up in Reno, got put on probation because, at that time, Nevada was a no tolerance state for anything. So got busted for weed, 6 years probation. And that was the end of my racing career.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So let's go back a little bit, dude. Who was your first sponsor? Was your dad with Competition
Comp Plus?
Comp Plus. And what exactly was Competition Plus? Was there other guys on the team, or was it just you and your dad and another guy? Was it a real team?
There was a few other kids. It wasn't really so much a team. They just had some jerseys and stuff made, and everybody wore them. The most notable person to ride for Competition Plus before he got his ride for Haro was Rich Segur.
Okay.
Who went on to become, freestyle Haro factory rider.
Okay.
And that was actually his job, was truing and lacing wheels with my dad in the back of Competition Plus back in high school.
Wait,
and there's actually
you were sponsored as a little kid though, not in high school, right?
Yeah, no, he was in high school. Rich is older.
Okay, he was in high school. Okay,
yeah,
got it.
And then, but mostly it was just co-sponsorships. That's why when Dave approached me to ride for Wizard, I was able to go ride for Wizard, but I was still riding my Torker because Dave was riding for Torker.
Okay, so you're Competition Plus, you're on a Torker.
Yep.
A regular Torker or the low pro Torker? I'm not a Torker fanatic, but regular Torker.
Oh, no, the mini Torker.
The mini Torker. Okay.
The mini Torker. The one that Jason Christie, Jason Jensen, got Spencer Sharp. There was a bunch of us that rode them.
Never liked the Torker, dude. I never liked them.
I liked them, and it's actually ironic because a year ago at the Mike Redmond National, I got one of the new Torkers. Just hadn't ridden a bike in 5 years, hadn't raced in 10 years. Was like, the whole month before just talking mad shit. I'm going to win. I'm going to go win for Bone. I was so out of shape. I had it was just putting it in my head.
Yeah.
And came out of the gate dead last. My hip pops out. I'm way out here in the first turn. Everybody goes like this. And it was like Redbone just talked to me. Come on, Remo. Get your ass up there. And next thing you know, I looked over and I'm battling for the lead. And, everybody's like kind of giving me crap because it's on a Torker, but at the same time, it made me feel good because I was wearing my MRC jersey right there, riding a Torker, which was one of my first bikes that I did good on. And, when I came across, I just, that was for you, Bone.
So break down some of your this always fascinates me. I'll give you one to me. The breakdown of my bikes are a fake Schwinn Stingray up and from like 72 to like 79, 78, 79. Then I got a Jag. Then I got a Diamondback. I got a bunch of different. I got a Reach. I had a Daryl Young, two Daryl Youngs, two Andy Pattersons. That's kind of my bikes. I always wanted the hose, man. I like the hose. I like the Navajo and the Tahoe. I didn't get either one of those, but I always wanted either one of those bikes. Well, what kind of bikes? What was your progression? What was your equipment?
So my very first bike was a 77 Redline Squareback.
Okay.
Then once I got going, my dad got me a Power Light. Or at that time, it was called the Pedal Power.
Yeah.
Then he got me a Coast Wheels, which then became CW.
Yeah.
Then I got the Torker. Then I got the Jocks Jag. Then I started riding for Cook Brothers.
Ding, 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 ding.
And
Joker. Nice.
Yeah.
Dude.
And so then I rode for them till Gary sold the company. Then I went to S&K, was still riding my Cook Brothers. Then my dad got me a Daryl Young. That was the next step up. And it was funny because I went from riding a Cook Brothers with sew-ups, okay, 12 expert, to a Daryl Young with 1.5 Diamondback rims like the next year.
Wow. Okay.
And then after the Daryl Young, after S&K, I got picked up by Boss. So then I got a Boss. Then I went from Boss to Pedal Power. And then I got one of the first 3 privateers.
Okay.
And I rode that for, God, ever and ever. Then I rode a GT Power Series for a little bit. And then I rode a Hustler, which was Ralph's bike when I rode for Ralph's. Then I rode a Haro that I got from Danny Milwee, an Auburn that I got from Danny Milwee. Then I got picked up by
John Salami would love that, dude. He loves Auburn.
And then I got picked up by SE when I turned pro in January of 2000.
Okay.
And I'll
just say that I was expecting you to turn pro a little. How old were you in 2000? You were an old man.
No, I was not 2000. Wait. 91. 90.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
90. I turned pro in 89. June 1st of 89 on my 17th birthday. 17 with X was 17 and over X at the time. And I was like, yeah, I'm not even going to make the main. I want to go make some money. went to the Gold Cup in Vegas and ended up getting second place. Went home with like $600. You know, I was happy.
Yeah, I had this conversation with John Salami, and I was like, I was 17 over X ABA, and I had a team member that was A Pro or A Pro ABA, would B Pro be NBL, and Corey, sorry, you're out. If you're watching, Corey, I did beat you quite often, but I was 17X, but I never really thought I had it together, because I always look back. I said, you know what, I could probably make the semis or the quarter semis at a national, but there's no way I'm making the main at 17X. So I just figured, why bother going pro? But I guess it maybe pros might not even be as fast as 17Xs at that point. I don't know. That was a big conversation that we had. Do you have an opinion on that of 17X versus B pros or A pros?
B Pro is only fast for the first 2 months of the year, and then they all moved up.
Okay. All right. There you go. Nice.
17X at that time could wax B Pro any day of the week.
Oh.
When I turned pro, Mayday, Carter, all those guys were still 17X. Darwin Griffin, Cecil Johns. I was like, dude, I'm not getting on the gate with all these dudes.
Dude, I forgot to put myself on.
Like I said,
hold on. I can't believe I forgot to do not disturb. Okay, so yeah, so you agree that 17X is just as fast, if not faster, than A pros or B pros? Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I don't know, so when I was on SE, at first I started out on a PK Ripper and a quad angle. They were too short. So then I designed the PKRXL, and then I helped me and Mike and Bob Divot designed the Flowable Flyer, the 1989 90 version with the pit bull brakes that were down low.
Yeah.
And then we designed the Assassin that year. And I was the only one riding for him at that time.
You were the only guy on Factory SC?
Yes.
Wow, dude. And you were the pro.
Todd Blazer was on at the beginning of the year when I got on. He rode 2 races for him and then left to go ride for Robinson, I believe it was.
Wow, dude. That's crazy, man. You're the only Factory. You're like the last man standing almost. That's. Did you get extra love because you were the only one on the team, or did they still give you a hard time?
Who's that?
Or just in general, being on a Factory team, I just wondered if you, since you're the only rider, did you get more money or more perks or more parts, or it didn't matter if you were the only rider?
I got unlimited parts. They really didn't have money for entry fees, but like parts, uniforms. I mean, SC took really good care of me while I was riding for them. I mean, like I said, I helped, I went in with the PK Ripper. I was like, we need to make one an inch longer. That was the whole thing. Make me one an inch longer and then put the brakes down here, because me and my friend Eric Tipton one night in his garage, we were drinking, hanging out. It was like midnight and I was, working on my bike, polishing it and everything. And I'm like, man, I wish I could make the brakes right here. And I look and I'm like, next thing you know, Eric hands me a drill and goes, why can't you? And he drilled it right there, threaded through the frame, put everything, went finish it the next day. I took it down to SE. They made the PKRXL and the Floval Flyer all right before the Grands that year. And I had quit for like 5-6 months, so I was able to reclassify. So I went to the Grands, 19 Expert and 17-21 Cruiser, and I ended up with a 3rd and a 4th in the mains.
What was the top tube size on the XL? Did it go to like a 21 or something?
21 and a half.
21 and a half.
Was okay. A PKRXL. The original PK was 20 and a half.
Okay. I knew that. I always thought that the PK Ripper had a short rear end on it, but I never considered having a short. I never had a problem with the front triangle, but I had. Everything was used to stems this big, and as tracks progressed and you had to start speed jumping more, that's when bikes started getting longer. Yeah.
I
forgot to mention my PK Rippers. I had like 4 PK Rippers. I forgot to tell you. Okay. Yeah, dude. That's why I was like,
and the whole reason.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, dude.
The Assassin was basically a Daryl Young, a 1/2 inch longer.
What was that? A casting? Is that what you said?
No, the Assassin. SC Assassin.
Okay.
Was a Daryl Young, but a 1/2 inch longer.
Really? Man, maybe
yeah.
Well, what was the head tube angle like? Was it like the Daryl Young, or was it more relaxed?
Nope, it was steep. It was an ABA bike.
That's
what it was set up for sharp turns, and you could dive bomb anybody on a nickel. Done.
I loved it. Yeah. I think I would have liked that bike, dude. That's my thing with. I always thought. I mean, JMC. I'm not. Bad mouthing JMC, but there's stuff before the Daryl Young was like, I don't know, way too small for me, or in our group, they had a bad reputation for cracking. I know that people are out there that love JMC that they didn't crack. Well, as a kid, as a 15, 16-year-old kid, once you hear that they crack, you don't want to get a JMC. But for my opinion of a JMC, totally changed, dude. When I got on my Daryl Young, my racing went from 7 to 9, dude. Like the next day, I was like, this is crazy handling. I love that bike, and I never cracked one JMC there. I had probably 4 of them. But Yeah, so if that Assassin was 1 inch longer, it probably would be better.
My Daryl Young, believe it or not, my dad put that together for me at the beginning of the year. At the Spring Nationals that year at Stockton was the first time I had doubled both days at a national. And I'm still trying to find the picture from my trophy dash. It was me, Aaron Salee, Jeff Schofield, and Danny Nelson, all 4 of us coming out of the last turn, just on a head-down sprint to the finish line. And I barely got him, and I ended up losing that trophy dash plaque out with one of my storages back when I was a kid. And it was the only one that I wish I still
had. Is that the race that stands out? Do you have one race or a series of races? I mean, I only raced 1 national in the United States. I raced 1 national in Mexico, but I wish I raced more. From all the nationals you went to and all the teams, is there one national or one series of races that really stands out where you think, you know what, this tells the Joseph Tippit story, man? Do you want to go down in the annals of history?
Probably just the 3 years in a row at Stockton that I doubled. It was like once I did it that year, it was the weekend before my birthday, and everybody knew it, but I still had a hard class because, like I said, back then there was trophy dashes. And I had to race Danny Nelson, Jeff Schofield, 2 of the best that ever rode a bike. And then Aaron Salee, who, if he would have stuck with it, in my opinion, probably would have ended up a top pro.
Okay. So you're saying doubled, you won class and won the trophy dash, or you won class and won cruiser?
Won class and won the trophy dash. At that time, they didn't have the 12 and under cruiser yet.
Okay. As an expert.
Yes.
You're an expert. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice, dude.
And I mean, and I beat those guys at local races, but I was never able to put it together at a national. And it was like, once I did that, I knew that I could win anytime I put my mind to it. And I mean, I always knew that I was fast enough, but I always had that doubt because, like, even at the Tropicana, at the World Championship, I made the main, but I got last. And everybody's like, "Oh, well, at least you made the main." Okay,
yeah,
but I got last. And then the only other race that really stands out for me, which I wish it wouldn't have turned out that way, was I believe it was 1981, the very last NBA Grands at Narler Park.
What a name, dude.
And I ended up getting second in the main to Jimmy Smith that rode for Factory Diamondback. And Joey Irwin, I think, got 3rd or 4th. I mean, we had a stacked class. People, every class that I've ever ridden in, even throughout the whole years, Derek Garcia, Brent Romero, Joey Irwin, Mucho Jones, Jason Johnson, Ricky Gilbert, J.D. Finney, Parnell Haley, John Purse, Robert Swick, Todd Lyons, Lawan Cunningham. Oh, and I know I'm missing a lot.
Wow, dude. Yeah. They're. When you said that there was one person that you never beat, and it was Brian Foster, I started looking back. I go, there was one guy I never beat Dave Wilson. I don't remember beating him anyways. And I got in front of him a couple times, but he passed me back. So that's the one guy that I don't remember ever beating. I raced him all the time at Azusa, or in a Pipeline too. Did you ever race Pipeline or Barstow?
Oh yeah, no, I went to Pipeline. I went to Barstow once or twice for NBL California State qualifiers, and it was sandy as hell and got a pit, had a big weird pit jump right in front of the grandstands. And that's when I got really into the NBL state racing. And my nemesis then, and we would go back and forth every race, was Jimmy Garcia. The famed Joey Garcia from Schwinn, his older brother, who went on to be an awesome AA pro.
Barstow was NBL?
Yes.
Really?
Yep. That was in 86 or 87.
Oh, I turned expert in Barstow when I won the triple pointer. But this is back in 84, I think it was.
Okay. Yeah, no. At that time, wherever there was an NBL state race, a Gold Cup qualifier, a national, if it was on the West Coast, I was there.
Nice, dude. What's it like riding for Cook Brothers, man? I know you were a little on the younger side, but give me some good Cook Brothers stories. You shared one on the last time you were on about the van full of parts, and that was always a cool story. But do you have any other cool Cook Brothers stories?
Everything that was cool about Cook Brothers, believe it or not, didn't happen at the track. Like Bobby Cook. Here I go. Bobby Cook was my best friend. He was my best friend. We went. His mom and dad let us sit in a tent in front of the walk-in movie theaters for 2 days before Empire Strikes Back. I talked to him every day. I rode from the minute I got picked up by Cook Brothers, even after he sold it, I still ran Cook's cranks, CQP cranks, all the way until I got picked up by Odyssey in 96. So from 82 to 96, I ran Gary's products. It was like family. There's no other way to explain. Gary helped. If it wasn't for Gary, I probably wouldn't have made it to the Grands quite a few years. Gary was my number one supporter besides my dad. He was always right there. Come on, Smoking Joe, you can do it.
And then that's the Mike Guicciardi team, right? Mike Guicciardi? Who else is on there at that time?
Mike Guicciardi, Kelly McDougal, Gonzo. Oh God. Well, then it started disbanding. Then Randy Roberts, he was on the team at the same time I was in Texas. Rusty Roberts, sorry. And then that was pretty much it. But Gary always had like people around him because people knew. Like back in 88, I was running the 2-pitch that Mike Guicciardi was running 5 years earlier with the little go-kart gear where the front chainring was this big and the rear was this big. Okay. And it had a Torrington clutch in the rear hub. So you come out of the gate, you know how most people are spun out 5 feet out of the gate? I had that the whole track. That's why at the 88 Grands, if you watch the video, that's why I was able to pass everybody and catch up to Brian down the last straightaway. And Brian, and it's funny because if we would have been at an NBL track that was longer than the ABA Grands and more wide open, I probably would have caught him. Because while everybody else was spun out, and I watch that video all the time, I'm like, look I'm barely pedaling. I'm like this. And everybody else is going like this. What's funny, in one of the videos, I fly by David Milham over one of the jumps, and that dude's the big gear king. He would run a 48-14.
Okay.
Or 40-13, like gears that, You get on his bike and it throws out your back, even freaking trying to just push it down. You know, I was always a spinner, 44-16 on a cruiser.
That's a spinner. Oh, on a cruise. Okay.
48.
Anything over 43 was not a spinner in my book.
Well, for me, when you're racing downhill, you know, Irvine.
Yeah, okay.
I would run a 44. Everybody would go up to a 45, 46.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
If we would go to a short indoor track, I would go to a 45-17, which was a 42.5.
Dude, I don't even think I ever changed my chain ring one time, dude. I ran a 43-16 the entire time I raced. I don't think I ever changed any size. If it was 43-16 at Azusa NBL, Azusa ABA, Barstow, Pipeline, wherever. It was always the same. Maybe I could have been faster. I never even thought about it. Crazy stuff.
My dad was one of those guys. He would grab my bike, take it while I was doing whatever I was doing, hanging out with my friends, going, you know, doing whatever. I would come back, I would get up on the gate, and my bike would be completely different. You know, and then just recently, after talking to a lot of people that I raced against, my dad's helping all the dudes that I'm racing against beat me.
That's hilarious, man.
Telling them what gears to put on their bike and what gear I've got on my bike.
What the hell are you doing, man? I'm trying to beat these guys. You don't want to help them.
Right? Right? I was talking to a couple guys. They're like, oh, yeah, your dad used to give me advice all the time. I'm like, thanks, Dad. What the hell, man? He was trying to make it harder on me.
Oh, dude, that's funny, man. That's funny. When you get on Redmond now. I'm gonna confess right now that I don't know a lot of Mike Redmond other than he's in the Hall of Fame and he ran the Grand Prix track and that type of thing. Tell me a little bit about how his team worked, how you got on Redmond, what years were that happening? Was this MRC was way before Redmond BMX, right?
Yes.
So maybe if you could share a little bit of background on that, because I would like to learn about that because I really don't know that much about that.
It was 85, 86-ish. Redmond was on pedal power. And I don't really know what it was. I think him and Rob had a little bit of a falling out about something. So next thing I know, I get a call from Redmond, you know, hey, do you want to ride for me? And it just happened to be right after my yearly phone call from Rob on my birthday. Hey, happy birthday, you're off the team. And it was like, yeah, I'll get a ride for you. So Mike ended up putting together probably one of the best teams ever to be put together. It was me, Ricky Gilbert, Damian Burnell, Roger Linder, Mike Redmond, and there was a couple other little kids. I think one of them was Todd Tompkins. I'm not sure, though. And we went to the USBA National in Las Vegas. So Mike had this big lifted truck, right? Him and Roger in the front, me, Ricky, and Damian in the back. He throws a tarp under us, says, don't pop your heads up until the truck stops. Down the 15 from Orange to Vegas. We get to Vegas, we stop. We think we're at the hotel. We pop our heads up. Nope, we're sitting on the strip. We ended up getting second or third that weekend for team. So, you know, we're off and running. Everybody's doing good. Damien, you know. Then we did a couple more races, and Bone was just always that guy that had a knack for being able to tell when somebody was going to be good, is good. And he ended up picking up a few more people. We went to A couple months later, we went to Reno National. I only rode for MRC. I think it was for about 3 months. And I did probably one of the stupidest moves in the world. But at the time, I was a cocky little kid and I had to hold my ground. I was winning. Well, I showed up to a race. Everybody had new leathers. Ronnie Anderson was on the team with his brand new leathers. Where's mine? You don't get any. I don't get any leathers, then I'm not wearing your jersey. And I quit on the spot. And went and rode for, it was a team, but it wasn't. I don't really know how to say it. They did it as a tax write-off.
Okay.
But I ended up riding for this team called System 1, which was me, Robert Del Pozo, Jason Shigas, and Timothy Woods. And it was just us 4. And I made, everybody made the mains. We did okay on the team card. Okay. And then they sent me to the NBL Grands. They sent me to a few races. Then I, of course, right before the Grands, hey, Joe, you want to come back on Pedal Power? And I always went back, I don't know why, just,
Dude, Rob, his last name was Lynch?
Lynch. Rob Lynch.
Yeah, that seems like a very, I don't know, tumultuous ride. It seems like a lot of people, I talked to a couple of people that were on the Pedal Power team, and it seems like they were on and off. The team changed a lot, apparently. Was that true? Was it like that?
Yeah, if you were winning, you were golden. You never had to worry about it. If you were like me, and the first half of the year you won, then after your birthday, you barely made mains up until the Grands, and then boom, at the Grands. But Rob was smart. He knew when everybody's birthdays were. He knew who to pick up. To be honest with you, if it wasn't for Rob Lynch, none of the teams, would have gotten anything of what they have gotten in BMX. Rob was the one who made it to where they had to start paying teams out like they did pros.
Wow. So it sounds like he was like just a real intense guy, and he wanted to build the best team he could. And if that meant cutting people, he cut them.
Exactly. He was cutthroat, and he would tell you straight out. I mean, I watched him, not Holly in particular, but I literally watched him leave people out in the middle of, drop them off at the airport, call your parents, get a ride home.
Not just Holly Dunn. He did it to other people.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. He thought about doing it to me, but we had too much history. And I think Rob knew what my dad would do to him if he got a hold of him. Not to mention, so I'm going to tell a story here. So
yes. I'm going to sit back, man.
This was 85 or 86. We went up to the Nationals up in Oregon, in the Oregon Duck parking lot, in the stadium parking lot. They used to have the track out there. I don't know if it's still there or not, but everybody does good. This is when Richie and Ronnie were riding for Pedal Power, Redmond, everybody. So on the way back, we've got me, Dugan Neal, Rob Lynch, Lonnie Tatton, Ricky Gilbert, Redmond, few other people in the van. Well, me and Ricky are the youngest in the van, so we're kicked to the back, right? So we're just pressed up against the back. I'm like, whatever. Well, I'm just staring out the back window. We're going down the 5 out in the middle of nowhere. I see this convertible come rolling up. Ricky, dude, I point out, it's 4 chicks in the convertible, right? I blow past everybody, and me and Ricky just blow past everybody up to the side van windows. And it's called the Gray Whale. This thing, the window is this bigger than a couch, right? Me and Ricky are up in the window like this. I'm up there going like this, right?
Yeah.
I'm 15 years old. I don't care.
Yeah.
These girls, they back off. Everybody's yelling, oh, whatever, you chased them off, blah, blah, this, that, the other. All of a sudden, they come cruising back up. Every single one of them's got their tops off. Redmond, freaking Redbone and Lynch and freaking Lonnie Tatton. Right on, Remo. Come on, get him. I'm freaking all, woo. We're in the window. I reach down, I grab my bag of weed, and I'm, woo, come on. Let's smoke. They back off. They follow in behind us. We go into the freaking, we pull off into a rest area. We're hanging out, smoking this, that, the other. We all get back home. 3 days later, I get a call from Redmond. Remo, I owe you, brother. What do you mean? What for? Remember those 4 chicks? Yeah. They just left my house. You dick, what the hell? You owe me?
Oh, that's good, man. That should have been in his Hall of Fame induction speech, dude. Or the Hall of Fame induction.
Mike was a character. So I moved up to Reno at one time. I was working at the Bunny Ranch, right? So I'd get free passes. Bone would come into town. Remo, what's up? You got anything for me, brother? Freaking, here you go, brother.
You got coupons,
like I said, every year on my birthday for 40 years, this is the first year. First time that I won't be getting a call on my birthday from Bo. Yeah. And it hurts.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Just that guy, his energy, everything about him, he could just sit there, watch a guy and be like, watch, that guy's going to be a badass. And I'm talking all the way back to pedal power days.
Yeah. I only met him once, or I met him like twice when he after he got the Grand Prix track in out there, Paris, I think it is. I met Mike twice out there, but he didn't have his own frames at this particular point, right? When MRC was out, you were riding other people's frames.
Yeah, he had a few frames made at that time by Elf, and they were called the MRC F1s. And the only ones that rode them was Redmond rode one, Ricky Gilbert rode one, and Roger Linder rode one.
And did everybody else ride different their frame of choice, or did everybody else ride the same frame brand?
I rode a Privateer, and I put the MRC stickers on it. He didn't have one for me at that time. I wasn't too worried about it.
Yeah.
For me, getting a bike wasn't hard. It was more getting the sponsor, getting somebody. But like I said, I did that own damage to myself. I don't blame anybody. It is what it is. I just laugh because a lot of the races we would cross the finish line and the dudes that I would beat would pull up, hit me and go, "Let me see your eyes. Let me see your eyes." And I'd be like, "What, dude?" And
if you want to know if I'm high, I'll tell you if I'm high, man.
Yeah. And then they would get pissed off because they're going to the gym 7 days a week, going to the track 7 days a week, going to trails, going to, doing everything and anything they can. I get up, I go to work, I go ride my bike at the track, have fun, go have fun at the trails, and that was it.
Yeah.
I did it all. Everything I did was for fun, to hang out with my friends. I never once took it like I have to win. I was never the dude that,
Were you a jumper racer, or were you a racer that jumped, or were you a jumper that raced?
Racer that jumped.
Okay. That's a sick picture of you doing that look back that I posted on the last time you were on. I like that picture, man. So you would consider yourself a racer that jumped. Okay.
Yeah. No. My jumping, I was always afraid to hit the big, huge stuff. You give me a tabletop that's only 6 feet apart with a 3-foot lip, I'll go 8 feet high off of it.
Yeah.
But you give me a 10-foot tall lip, 25 feet apart, I'm racer styling it. It was weird. Once jumping evolved, I didn't. But I was the guy, I built the very first, it's considered the first rhythm at a national, which was the 6-pack in Las Vegas at the rodeo grounds, that put a bunch of people in the hospital. And I'm not proud of that it put people in the hospital. I'm just saying I built that, and I could take that faster than anybody that weekend, except for probably Brian Lopes. He had it dialed, but we were riding together at that time.
All right. Okay. All right. What was because they were big, or because they were spaced out, or what made them so sketchy? You had to jump them. You couldn't manual them. What was the deal?
You had to jump 2, 2, and 2, and they were 6 mounds, 2.5 to 3 feet tall, just about this tall, 2.5, 3 feet tall, but they were exactly 15 feet from mound to mound to mound.
Okay.
Didn't time them perfect. What most people were doing was going off the first one and hitting the third one.
Yeah, I can see that'd be a little sketchy. Yeah.
A couple of guys tried jumping triple, but it wasn't possible because, like I said, you only had a little dip.
Yeah.
I guess. And they took out so many people. All the parents and teams and stuff went out on the track. And actually, I believe it was mostly Color Control went out on the track, protested, and had them take the middle set out. But then the races, the quality of racing, the race, everything went to shit after that.
Wow. Yeah. Dude, man, I'm envious of your exploits because I never was on a big team, and I always want, that's the dream of every kid that ever touches a bike, right? To get on a factory team or get on a big team. And I was just on main bikes, man, and I loved it. But I'm envious, dude. I live vicariously through my guests, dude. So thank you for that. Do you want to talk about your bike shops at all? Because I own a bike shop. You own a bike shop, right?
I did. I had to shut it down when COVID hit.
So, are you down to talk a little bit about owning a bike shop and the challenges and that type?
Yeah.
Because
it's a funny story. A lot of people don't believe it. Like, even you kind of questioned it in the beginning.
Well, just for the viewers out there that don't know what I'm talking about, the second video that I ever did on YouTube, I told a story about when I opened up a bike shop, and I had $6,000, and I used that to open up a bike shop from scratch. I had no tools, I had no bikes, I had no experience. One day I decided I'm gonna open up a bike shop. So I did a video on that, on that experience. And Joe saw me at Dirty Fest, and he goes, "That's nothing, dude. I opened a bike shop with like $500 or something crazy, right?" And so we started talking. So that's what I want to hear about. I want to compare stories about trying to manage and run a bike shop on a limited budget and that type of thing. So, do I have the story right? Is that what happened, Joe?
Actually, it was cheaper than that. So when I first moved up to Lake Isabella, where I'm at, Kernville area, there was no bike shop. None. So I went, dug through what little bit of bike parts I had, scrounged together some stuff, drove down to Bakersfield, got the business license for free. My landlord at the time had a building that was run down and he needed it as a tax write-off. He goes, "Hey, I'll give it to you for 6 months if you'll do a little bit of work on it for free." So he gave me the shop to use. And it had holes in the roof, this, that. But so I go do those two things, check them out. Okay, this is going to happen. I get my business license. I come home. I called up Chris Moeller at S&M. I put in an order for $200 worth of tubes and merchandise, shirts. I think I got a couple flasks, socks, just some stuff to hang in there.
Let me stop you real quick. I want to interject one thing. When I opened my shop, S&M was in the process of having a summer clearance sale, and I did the exact same. I reached out to, as God's my witness, Joe. I reached out to him via email, and I was trying to like, "Hey man, I'm opening up a bike shop. And he never responded to it. I never ended up buying anything from him. But no, actually, I did go down to he had like a parking lot sale, and I bought some shirts, stuff like that. But he never responded to my email. But I think that's hilarious. I did the exact same thing you did.
Believe it or not, I didn't end up selling hardly any of the shirts. They all ended up going to my kids. I bought $100 worth of tube. We'll see. Up here where I'm at, it's mostly mountain bikes. So people would come in, want their bikes, fixed, or want me to order stuff. So what I did was get a deposit for their stuff, order 2 things. Because now I knew what to buy. Because I didn't know. I was relatively new to mountain bikes. I knew, okay, Maxxis is good, Kenda's good, Diacomp, or not Diacomp, but Shimano, you know what I mean? I kind of knew the basics, but I didn't know what the customer wanted. So I went with that. Within a year and a half, I ended up closing 2 years later because that's when COVID hit. And when I closed, I probably closed with about $10,000 to $15,000 worth of merchandise.
Yep.
Every time somebody would come in, want a derailleur, I would buy 2. Boom. Brakes, anything that they wanted, tires. And then I would go on and look for the deals where I could get 3 tires for the price of the 1 tire. Boom. And then I would have it. And I mean, right now I'm sitting on boxes of mountain bike tires, mountain bike wheels, chains, all kinds of stuff. And people are like, "Oh, throw it up on eBay, do this, do that." Why? People come up here still. I'm still in there. They call, "Oh yeah, I got that. Come on by."
Yeah, dude. What bike did you ever get a dealership with any company?
Nope.
So you couldn't sell any new bikes?
Nope. Didn't want to. Didn't have the money to carry them. And most of the time when people did want to come in to ride them, they wanted to demo them first. And then, "Well, I'll pay for it when you get here." Nope. I don't want it. Don't want your business. Go to Block in Palmdale. Go to Grizzly in Bakersfield. They would love to take your money.
Yeah, I was a
where I made all my money at was repairs.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Repairs, nothing but repairs. And most of the people, like my local customers, I would give them big discounts and not even think, here you go. Oh, here's your parts, 20% off. And then I still to this day have customers that come up from Huntington, Newport, San Diego, because they came up here, had me do work on their bike. I was able to fix it for one. For two, I was cheaper. And then for three, when I would pounce on it. When I adjust their derailleur, I would get up the hill and just grind through the shifter. And they're like going, what are you doing? Well, if it doesn't pop off by me doing that, it's not going to pop off with you granny shifting it going up the hill.
I used to watch YouTube videos to try to learn how to adjust derailleurs. I was a horrible mechanic, dude. Oh, it was terrible.
How I learned, I got into racing mountain bikes for like a year and a half and dual slalom. I didn't have a mechanic or anything. So, and I only raced one dual slalom race. That was, I believe it was 2013 or 2014 Sea Otter, and I ended up winning.
Dude, that's good, man. Yeah, so, I was a felt and a Haro dealer, and I used to sell $3,000 road bikes out of the catalog. I didn't even have the bike in the shop. I'd just be like, "Oh, it's a great bike. Here's the picture. This, that, whatever. Okay, I'll take it." And then I'd take their deposit or their money, and then I'd order the bike and get it in. And then I could never afford to keep inventory in. Never, dude. I would buy 5 tubes at a time. Okay, I want 5 20 by 1.75s, and then I need a couple 700Cs. Buy 6 or 7 tubes, and like the QBP is like, dude, what are you doing to yourself, dude? You're killing you're gonna be ordering another set in a week. And I go, dude, I can't afford nothing, man. And I sold stolen BMX bikes, felt BMX bikes. Colt would never give me a dealership. But dude, it was becoming a dealer for a distributor for a brand was my big thing that I could never accomplish anything really good. I mean, everybody in my area, all the kids wanted either a Fit or a Colt, and I couldn't get either one of them. So I just sold felts. And dude, the best part of my life, for the most part, was the look on a kid's face when you sell him a BMX bike, dude. The kid comes in for a BMX bike, and he sits on that bike, and the smile on his face, that's what made it all worthwhile for me, man. I was like, okay, I could deal with this. This is fun.
Yeah, mostly for me, I mean, I didn't have the kids coming in for the new bikes or anything. Like I said, up here, it's more of a vacation tourist town. So 80% of my business was out of towners. So like there was one guy that came up, he was one of Freddie Chulo that rides for S&M, one of his really good childhood friends. And he came in and he had this weird hub with this weird spoke. And he's like, yeah, man, if not, there went my week. I'm up here for the week. I was like, dude, I got you. I grabbed a torch, heated up the end of the spoke, grabbed some pliers, straightened it out to where it didn't have the hook like this, to where the butt end was straight. And I made him a spoke. And what's funny is that was 7 years ago, like the first week when I opened my shop. Every time he comes up here, he's like, dude, look, I still got my lucky spoke.
Dude, I didn't even have a truing machine, dude. A truing stand, dude. We used to take the brake pad off of the brake shoe the brake caliper and true it against the brake caliper, dude. It was just disgusting. I had no parts, no nothing. Anyway,
when I had mine, I did it the old school way, the way my dad taught me. Hold your thumb up against the rim like this and go like this. And when your thumbnail stops the rim, true it a little. It's like a lot of people have seen it. They all know about it. That's my dad's tattoo. It's got a spoke wrench, a hammer, and a wrench.
Nice, dude.
Nice. My dad, and it's funny because I hear about so many pros that walk up and they're like, dude, do you know how many times, like Tommy Bracken's perfect example. Do you know how many times your dad saved me with that magical red spoke wrench in his pocket? And yeah, I know, Tommy.
That's bitchy, man. Would you remember your last race?
What do you mean? Like last race?
The last race. The last time you were on a track when you were whatever, your first run. Do you remember your last race?
My last race from my first stretch of racing back from 77 to 98, believe it or not, was kind of ironic. It was at the place that I made my comeback at last year, and that was Lake Paris. I'd made the main in cruiser, 21-25 cruiser or actually 26 to 30 cruiser, was going into the first turn, got bucked over the step jump into the first turn. My left foot came unclipped. My right foot didn't. I did a full spun my ankle 360, hit the wall and the blacktop ground and got a concussion and got knocked out.
And that was all. That's all it took. That was your retirement sign.
October of 98.
Wow.
And then June of 2024, that was the track I made my return at.
Very bitching, dude. You're like Trump coming back to Clay. I'm kidding.
Like I tell everybody's like, dude, what was up in that first turn? All I kept doing was having flashbacks.
I can imagine.
Going, dude, I'm 52 now, broken. I have and that's when people don't understand. Like people, oh, when are you going to go back to expert? When are you going to? I have nerve damage in my back. I have arthritis. I have 4 degenerative discs. I'm not, if people knew, like my doctors and stuff knew I was racing, I would be getting torn up and down every which way. I'm not even supposed to be riding a bike.
Yeah,
that's now, as of last weekend, I'm just stoked. My son, he's 15. He wants to take and carry the torch, and he's racing the Torker and gonna hopefully carry it on for into the future.
Nice, man. Nice. Can we switch gears? I really want to learn more about RIP BMX Apparel, and I know that you have this means a lot to you, man, from what I could tell. And I reached out, for those that are watching, I reached out to Joe yesterday. I wanted to buy, because I've been doing these podcasts wearing the same stuff all the time. And I go, I want to get some t-shirts from Joe and start, repping them on the podcast, that type of thing. And that's where we kind of hooked up and we got this scheduled. And dude, how did this whole thing come about? I saw you at Dirty Fest and you're at your booth. Give me a little, tell us the story about this whole thing, man, from your perspective.
Well, you know how when you quit racing, you lose contact with friends over time. Well, I had always kept in contact with Rob Lynch, so I had talked to him right before he passed away. Then when Facebook came a thing, I was one of the ones, one of Lonnie Tatton's only teammates that showed up to his memorial. Then when I went to Bones, to Mike Redmond's, that one hit me the hardest because just right before that on June 1st, like I said, every year on my birthday, I would get a call from Mike. Happy birthday, Remo. Love you, brother. You know, typical Mike fashion. That was just how he was. Once you became family, that was it. Unless you did him really wrong, which in that case, run. So on the way home, it was just, we were there at his memorial out at Lake Paris, and people started bringing up names of people that had passed away. And, you know, the whole way home, I'm driving home by myself. It's a 3.5 hour drive, and I'm bawling the whole way. You know, it's still hard for me to keep it together when talking about Mike. And I was just thinking, there's got to be, you know, the only time we ever think about our fallen brothers and sisters is when somebody else passes. You know, that's it. Or right when they pass, they put up a thing on Facebook, and then they'll do a thing once a year. And it's like, no, I remember them all daily. Something will happen and it will pop into a memory into my head, you know, or I'll look at one of my jerseys and it will make me think about it. You know, like the shirt that I'm wearing right now, it's Darwin and Dana Griffin. And it's hard for me to talk about Dana because, like I was telling you before we popped on, if it wasn't for Dana Griffin, I wouldn't be alive. Dana saved me and Nigel Von Trotha. We were in the van, didn't want to go in for dinner. He came out, grabbed us, carried us into the table, said, no, we're sitting down, we're eating like a family, like a team. Next thing you know, some drunk driver went, took out the pedal power van, sideswiped it, and me and Nigel were almost in the back. We were almost dead because he hit it with enough force to turn it from this to this that quick and keep going.
Well,
you know, and so I wanted to do something. Plus, not only that, not everybody's well off to help and has money to bury their family, to bury their siblings. I mean, obviously, half the time when something happens, people go do a GoFundMe, whatever, which I fully understand that. I commend that. But I figured if I could do this and do something to help contribute to make the families what they're dealing with a little bit easier, I would try. You know, not to mention, you know, I want to remember them every day. And it just seems like more and more, you know, we keep losing more and more of our brothers and sisters every day.
yeah.
You know, it's like Malin, you know. I just talked to him 3 days earlier, got my phone call that I got every Monday from him. He would video call me and go, BMX forever, brother. I love you. Click. And that's it.
Yeah, dude.
And he knew it put a smile on my face. And I'd freaking, I love you too, Malin. You know, it's when you spend 20 years with people, they become more than, you know, their family. I was used to seeing them every weekend.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
So that's what inspired you to start making
their memory alive and let them know that, you know, hey, we're thinking of you daily.
You know, from a consumer perspective, the printing, the likeness on those shirts is almost scary, dude. They almost look like pictures. I mean, the graphics are ridiculously clean, dude. So whoever does your printing, man, does a hell of a job.
Yeah, no, I go through, I find the best picture. The pictures that I want are the ones where you can see their face, where you can see the expression on their eyes. It's like this shirt right here, believe it or not, is out of a BMXer photo out of the ABA magazine. And right here in the picture, rolling the doubles was Cecil Johns. And I was like, I got to take Cecil out of there. I can't do him dirty like that, you know. They were like calling the brother, you know, because you got Darwin and Dana squeezing on Cecil. And I was just like, I can't do Cecil dirty like that.
For those that are going to be watching this on Facebook, because I do clip a lot of stuff out for Facebook, and this will definitely be clipped out for my followers. A little bit of background: who do you have shirts for that people can reach out to you if they're interested in one? Who are the favorites? I know my favorite. I want to get the Scott Breithaupt, and I want to get a couple other ones. But drop some names on who's on your shirts.
Oh God! So we've got Cecil Johns, Kyle Fleming, Richard Fleming, Aaron Salee, Lonnie Tatton, Rob Lynch, Deanna Edwards, Rod Beckering.
Yeah.
Right now we have like 18 different signature designs, and then in the next week or two, we're actually going to be dropping more. We just got some more permissions from family members and stuff, and those ones are the ones that everybody's been waiting for. I'll just say that.
Okay.
It's the one that everybody, oh, when are you going to do this guy? When are you going to do that guy? You know, and then to answer the question, because a lot of people, well, are you going to do one? It doesn't matter who it is. Doesn't matter the problems I've had with you in the past. If you are a BMX racer, you don't even have to be a legend to be on our shirts. You just had to have raced. And we will, if we have permission from the families and everybody involved, we will put your name on. We will do a shirt for you. No problem.
The one picture that I would love to have a shirt for is when Scott jumped off his roof into the pool.
If I could get a clear enough version of it.
That would be sick, dude. Oh, man.
The one shirt that I'm doing for Scott right now, the reason why I'm doing it, it's actually Scott when he was on FMF, but he's NBA #1. It was when he was NBA #1 pro. And he's coming off a jump, and he's all typical Scott Breithaupt, you know, tongue hanging out, and he's like, if it wasn't for Scott, I wouldn't have gotten my ride for SE. He saw me doing good at A Pro at Reno and came up, how would you like to ride for us? And I jumped on it.
Yeah, dude. That's crazy.
I regret quitting the team because right after I quit was when they got bought out and Rob Lynch started the next team that had Daryl Young and Jerry Batters and Perry Kramer and Jeff Filoni and Travis Turrison. You know, he ended up with the kick-ass team, but I quit right before that because somebody had stepped up and said, hey, if you want to ride for us, we'll pay your entry fees. I went to SE, said, look, you know, they're willing to pay entry fees. Is that cool? Yeah, we'll let you know if anything pops up. And I kind of got lost in the mix, you know.
Yeah.
Another one of those things, kind of like Vans. I put together, I call it the Vans 2 team because they had Vans version 1 where they all wore the Veers Leathers outfits and all that.
Yeah.
Then
Ron House, Brian Gass. Oh, that version.
Rick Scott, Kelly, Beetle Rosecrans. Yeah. And then version 2, we were putting together in 88. And how it all came about, Everett used to give out these cloth Vans t-shirt things that said Vans Factory Team if you were co-sponsored by them. Well, Rob had just kicked me off the team, and I was like, I'm not going to ride for anybody. I'm just going to wear this. Ev, you still going to give me shoes? Yeah, we got you. Well, I went to Rockford, Illinois, and I put on a trash bag over my jersey, except for I cut holes in it. Well, I ended up getting a photo, and all you saw on the arm was Vans Factory Team. Well, he takes that in, shows it to Steve Van Doren, and he got the green light. Let's do a team. So every day I would get home from work, ride the 5 miles from my house over to Everett Rosecrans' house, and we put together what was going to be one of the best teams ever.
Just a race team, not a freestyle team. Race team.
Just pure race team. This was before Ronnie got involved, before Terry got involved. Danny wasn't involved. It was me, Dugan, this girl Amy Kanata from Oregon, and oh God, I can't think of their name. 2 guys from Texas, and then Ev brought on Bullet Bob Hayes. Well, during this, right before everything got finalized, like the last week, they were doing the race that I had mentioned before out at Irvine. And I was in the running for the car, and, you know, me and Matt Hayden. So Brandon Ellen kept trying to take me out. So I leveled him in turn 2. I mean, I jumped all 4 quads. He was here. Okay, you want to play like that? I'm going to put you out of commission. And I plowed him as hard as you could plow somebody. And what people didn't understand, at that time, I was running front brakes for a reason. I would jump into a turn, lock up both sets of brakes, and just plant you. And, you know, do the old Harry spin on a dime, lock up both brakes right away while you're flying off the berm. And Harry comes out, stops me. We get into a fight. My dad's like, dude, let him be. Let the kids fight, you know? And all I wanted to was whoop Brandon's ass. I didn't care about nothing else. So, okay. I'm going to make it a point. You're not going to be, you know. Go to the Grands the next month. I'm riding for Pedal Power. That's the video, the 88 Grands. And you watch Brandon's in second or third. And it's kind of ironic because every Grands he blew up. But he had all these factory rides, you know, Hutch, Diamondback, but he could never produce. And then you got me, you know, the stupid stoner that pulls up to the Grands and, oh, I'll get top 4, no problem.
like Fast Times at Ridgemont High, dude. When you rolled
dude. Exactly. Dude, I've even gotten called the freaking, you know, what's up, Spicoli? It's like, dude, I'm cooler than Spicoli. I know how to ride bikes. I know what Vans are for. You put them on your feet and pedal real fast. You know? Did you run the Vans brake shoes on the Vans team? No. I was never the only fad that I was really in on. And it wasn't even that I was in on it. I was one of the first guys to do it. And, you know, Terry Tennant, Cecil, those guys, they'll verify it. The things everybody used to put on their rear sprocket to make their sprockets louder.
Okay.
Yeah, I was one of the first guys to do that. That's like the only fad that I caught into and started doing it. One time I ran one that was this big, almost covered all of my spokes. Because we would have a contest, see who could get the bigger one. It's like, okay, you want to play like that? I'm gonna go find a 12 speed with one that big and just.
Nice, dude. Nice. Well, hey, look, I know that I'm taking up a lot of your time tonight, and I think maybe we should start winding this thing down. What I really wanted you to tell me is, where can I or someone else that wants a RIP BMX Apparel shirt, where can they go? Where can they find one? And what's the process to order one?
Right now, I have my Facebook page. You can get in touch with us through there. I have to apologize. Right now, I still just have Venmo, but I will have a booth set up down at Dirty Fest and at Frogtown.
Okay.
So, but if you want, message me and then we can arrange it. And, I have no problem shipping shirts out and taking care of people, getting them what they want.
Nice, dude. May I ask what a shirt costs?
$25.
Not too bad. Yeah.
And $5
for those graphics and the colors. That's affordable, dude.
Yeah, and $5 from every shirt goes into a pot to help with any future funerals, memorials, if the families need it. It's there.
Oh, okay.
And on the signature shirts, right now, Cecil Johns is in the lead for the signature shirts like this. But on the signature shirts, if you buy one, your name goes into a raffle, and then we're going to raffle off an up-to-date version replica of that bike.
Okay.
So, like, let's see, like this, Darwin's Boss, it's going to be an up-to-date version with the 1.125" headset, V brakes, because I'm not trying to spend $10,000 to recreate this bike.
Yeah.
Or some of the bikes that are in there, I mean, Kyle Fleming's DG on one of the shirts, that who knows how much that would cost too.
Yeah, no doubt, man. No doubt.
So, and a lot of the companies, that's the other thing, we've got permission from all families, all companies involved, if they're still around, and everybody's on board helping us out, and we're just trying to keep everybody's memory alive. That's all it's about.
That's badass, dude. And I hope I will see you at Dirty Fest. Hopefully, we'll have, with God willing, with Mike Miranda's generosity. Hopefully, we'll be near each other, dude. And
we will definitely talk to him, and I'll help you get some of the old school legends over there, and help you get some interviews, and
Yeah, nice, dude. Joe, I appreciate it, man. I know I got you when you got home from work. Thank you so much for taking the time. Thank you very much for all your good stories, and thank you everybody out there for watching, that will be watching in the future. I appreciate you stopping by the BMXPERTS Podcast. If you want to subscribe, please do so. If not, subscribe anyways. Thank you. I appreciate it, Joseph. Until next week, the track is closed. Peace out.
Have a great night.
Later, buddy. Bye-bye. Man, I can never find the button. There it is. Later.